Before you do any electrical work on the bus, it's always a good idea to disconnect the battery. There's 3 batteries, and you could disconnect from positive, but when you're doing that, if you should accidentally touch the positive and a grounded piece of metal like the bus or this bar or something, then you would get an arc across there and it would scare you to death, and there's a lot of juice. So whenever you're disconnecting the battery, it's a good idea to disconnect the negative, the ground. I know that buses have emergency exits and that those are all wired so that an alarm sounds and the bus won't start if any of those are open. So I was just looking at these wires that come up from the big loom. They come up here into here, and one of the red wires goes here. The other red wire goes across here, and a white wire goes across. So then I was looking, okay, the red wire goes here and goes up through here, up through the emergency exit molding, and over here to this. So I'm like, all right, why would they put a wire there? This is a mechanical scenario. So then I got to looking a little closer, and if you listen, and if you look, there's a little switch. So it knows when the door is closed and when the door is open. And the switch is in this box. And that's what the wires do. All right, so I'm like, well, okay, where does the white wire go? And the red wire that are going over here. So I followed those over to here, and they're going down into the window. So I'm going down there, and okay. Emergency window. Well, there must be a switch on this emergency window. So let's find it. So I open this window, and I'm looking around here for a switch. No, don't see a switch. No, I look up here. No, that's all mechanical. I don't see anything electrical. Look over here, nothing. I look down here, nothing. And then I was looking, okay, well, there's nothing electrical in this mechanism. Then I get to looking down here, and boom, there's the switch. So the way it works is when the window is closed, it goes down and it pushes on that switch. That's what tells the bus that the window is closed. In reality, you could just tape that closed and the bus would function as if the window was closed. Tape it, screw it, whatever. But really, I'm gonna remove it all. But that's just one example of how, if you just try and think of what they're trying to accomplish, they want the bus to not work and to do a buzzer when this is open or when that's open. So we'll get into how we circumvent that functionality. So I know from inside that this wire goes to the security camera system. And I followed it and it goes to this big bundle of wire. So that can be removed. And I should be able to follow this over goes to these wires, which looks like it goes to a button right there, which is used, you know. Anyway, I know I can remove that. All right, a small victory. This is the big wire loom that goes down the bus. And it comes down and it goes into all of these fancy plugs, and then goes into all this and goes all right here. So this is the loom that I can use to start tracing the wires. Just need to separate all these so they're free. But they have little stickums. There's probably 7,000 years of being stuck in here together. They're just kind of all sticky. It's probably all good wire, and I may indeed reuse some of this wire, but only after thorough inspection. Well, the wiring saga continues. I can see more daylight through there. These three go all the way under the chassis of the bus to the 3 air conditioning units. So I've got those disconnected from the panel in here, which, as you can see, is getting a little less populated. When you open up the back panel, the engine cover, oh, hello Cummins. These are the lights we're talking about. So remain, license plate light, those all need to stay, and these all need to stay. There's also some dome lights in here. I don't know where those are sourced from. The power for those probably comes from within this engine bay somewhere. But essentially we're just talking about tracing lights. So let's talk about this light. I want this light, the wire for this light, to remain. We see this white wire, and I can see that it goes to ground. And this white wire goes to ground. There's a ground here that goes into this loom, which my guess would be it's on the top connector. See, ground, top connector. Top wire comes out is white. White comes up here and goes into this light. White comes up here and goes into this light. So that's going to be ground as well. For the bottom, what we have is 2 wires. We have a red and a black. And if I trace the red, it comes up here and it goes to this light, which is brake light. That light right there. Anyway, I want it to remain. And then the other one that comes out of that connector is the black, and that goes to both lights. Okay. Basically, we're just doing that same process. We're trying to identify what each wire is. This little gizmo right here, I believe, is the backup beep, beep, beep thing. So basically we get down to this loom right here, and that's where all the wires go up into the bus. And from this side, the wires go up into the bus. And there's also 2 lights here. I believe that's for tail light function if the door were to be open. Or if you had to run with no door for some reason, I don't know. Or maybe if you're sitting at a stop and you got the door open and you need your hazards on, those would continue to blink. Regardless, I want those to stay working. So we've got the loom going up and the loom going up. Let's see what that looks like inside. So if we come inside the bus, you can see from, that's the loom on the driver's side that I pointed up, that was coming up into the bus. It comes up there. And those wires go, some of them go across that way, across the back, and the rest go up yonder. And if we look at the loom in the back that I pointed, that's right there, that's what came up into the bus on the passenger side. So those are the wires, and they come across and they go to there. So pretty much all of the wires that go down into the engine compartment, I want those to remain. But all of the upper lights are the ones that I'm going to be deleting. Wires that come out of there, I've already taken one wire out of there. Wires that come out from those 3 running lights, and the wires that come from there. Those I'm going to delete. So what I'm going to do is trace, well, I've already done that. The only wires that are remaining here are the white. Those are the ground wires. So I'm going to take all of those off. Here, the only wire that's there is yellow, which changes into green right here and goes to green and then runs down along here. So I'm going to trace this green wire. There's also running lights up on the corners of the bus here, and also over here. If we find, there should be another one right here that goes to that green, and this is to another light. These lights from the outside are grounded with a screw, so there's only one wire going to them, the power wire. Then they're chassis grounded. So that green wire that goes to those top running lights also feeds the corner running light, the center running light, and up here it should branch off again to feed the top running light. But it was right there. I've already removed it. Getting rid of those for right now. After we do the roof raise, I'll worry about putting lights there. But before we do spray foam, gotta worry about it before spray foam.